Hello, my name is Julia Chiminetti, Associate Director of Admissions at Champlain College. I have been the transfer coordinator for, Okay, so I'm going to introduce Montse. She is a senior here, and she's a communications major, and she's graduating in 2019. Here she is.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the live stream. Today, we're going to be chatting about women's leadership, both in and outside of the classroom. As you heard Julia say, my name is Montse Guerra. I am a senior communication major with a minor in marketing, and obviously, I'm going to be hosting tonight's live stream. Throughout my time at Champlain, I've held roles such as student ambassador, resident assistant, student government association member, Champ Guides mentor, and the president of Alianza Latinx, which is our Latino affinity group on campus. After you've heard me speak for a little bit, I'm going to give the folks who are going to be our panelists today a chance to introduce themselves. So if you folks don't mind, give your name, graduation year, major, and leadership positions that you've held in Champlain.
Hi, everyone. My name is Megan Donovan. I'm a third-year computer information technology major with a cybersecurity minor from Derry, New Hampshire. Some other things that I'm involved with on campus besides being a student ambassador, so I'm one of the tour guides. I'm also a resident assistant, and I've been a resident assistant of a first-year hall as well as an upperclassman hall.
Hi, I'm Elena. I'm a second-year law major with a minor in international business. I'm from Sanford, Florida, and I am a student ambassador, but I also help lead the admissions contribution team.
Hey everyone, my name is Jen Benton. I am a third-year management of creative media major with a specialization in broadcast and streaming media. I'm from Beverly, Mass, and I'm a personal finance peer coach here on campus.
Hi everyone, my name is Mia Andriozzi. I'm a sophomore accounting major here on campus. I'm from Exeter, New Hampshire, and I hold a position with Stellar Women in Business as president and finance chair, as well as I'm a resident assistant.
Hey everybody, my name is Alex Theodora. I'm a second-year game art and animation major. I'm from Red Bank, New Jersey, and I'm also a student ambassador on campus, so that's my one leadership position, and my other one is a game art mentor.
Awesome. Thank you so much to all of our panelists for being here. As you can probably tell, we have a large variety of different leadership positions on campus, both within our campus and just in our Champlain community in general. Champlain has a ton of different organizations and clubs, affinity groups, and just overall leadership positions on campus that allow our students to develop a ton of new leadership skills. There's definitely a lot to do, as I'm sure you'll find out from our panelists today. And our Women's and Gender Center is actually a great resource that facilitates a lot of that. There's a lot of ways to get involved on our campus. So remember, as you're watching this live stream, you're more than welcome to ask some questions for our panelists to answer. But in the meantime, let's start off with some questions for our panelists. So the first question that I have for you folks today is, why did you choose the leadership positions that you have? If you have one specifically that you're really passionate about, go ahead and go that one and give us a great example as to why that leadership position has had a great impact in your time here at Champlain.
Yeah, so as I mentioned, I'm a student ambassador as well as a resident assistant. I really wanted to be a student ambassador because, you know, finding and looking for colleges is super exciting, but it's also super, nerve-wracking, and it can be overwhelming. And I wanted to help help students find their dream college and work with students to make sure that they felt comfortable in the college application process. And yeah, just be there for students. And I wanted to really showcase and give back to Champlain of how much I love Champlain. As a resident assistant, I wanted to help students build a community. I was very grateful for my first year and the community that was built inside of my first year hall. And I wanted to help foster that community once again. And that has been a really rewarding experience for me.
So as I also mentioned before, I'm also a student ambassador, and I specifically chose this as my leadership position because it allowed me to connect with other students on campus, but also prospective students. And it allowed me to share my experiences that I've had since starting college, but also prior to starting college that helped me choose Champlain as my ultimate school. However, I really wanted to also showcase all the great things that Champlain has to offer, especially with having a major that's not as well known. And so, yeah.
So as I mentioned, I'm a peer coach, specifically a personal finance peer coach. And I got the job through a friend of a friend, really my peer mentor when I first came to Champlain. And she was a great person to know and to kind of be my mentor in the role. And now that she's graduated, I can continue being a role model and a mentor for other peer coaches who are new to the job. And I also get a great idea of different career options that I have and great networking opportunities through that role as well, through different career fairs, game of life events, and I get to learn a lot about finance, specifically personal finance, which is really going to help me now and after I graduate.
So as I mentioned, I'm a resident assistant, and I kind of came into that role from my first year RA, and she had like a great impact, and she kind of encouraged me to go into the role. And I really enjoy getting to know my residents and getting to know like why they're here and what makes them unique to Champlain, and getting to help build a community, not just in a dorm, but in Champlain overall. And for Stellar Women in Business, I went to like a few networking events that they held my first year, and I was kind of asked to like participate in a more formal role, and I was more than happy to accept it.
So I have two leadership positions: a game art mentor and a student ambassador. But I'm gonna go for a game art mentor. I chose that one because I love my major a whole lot, and I also love game art a lot. And I like generally really like helping people if they ever need help in the lab. So it's a really awesome opportunity because I get to help first year students just with any problems they might have with like, oh my god, I don't understand a program, or I need help with this one specific thing. So I'm able to help them out. I work in our game art labs all around campus a lot, and they can actually just approach me and be like, hey, I'm having trouble with this one thing, and I'm able to just immediately help them. So it's just a really good way of like meeting people, but also just being able to help people who are coming after you. It's cool.
Awesome. Thank you so much to our panelists for sharing their experiences and their positions that they held on campus. Our next question is, how has your identity as a woman impacted your role?
Yeah, so for mine, I just kind of went with it. It never really fazed me. I kind of walked onto campus being like, all right, these are the goals I have, and I just went for it and pursued those positions. So yeah.
Similar to Megan, I kind of, it didn't exactly impact me as much as did, I guess, give me a different view on how my role works. I guess is more of a representation of our students. So as a student ambassador, we're kind of like one of the first people that students might meet when appearing on campus. And so being a woman allowed me to not only bond with some prospective students that might feel nervous about going to school, but also allowed me to represent a different part of our school. So that was nice.
So the Career Collaborative, the office that I work in where all the peer coaches are kind of housed, is also called the Garden House. I'm sure you'll visit it at some point on campus. But I've been very fortunate in that the Garden House is really female dominated. So a lot of the career coaches that we work with who are adult staff are mainly female identifying. And a lot of the peer coaches that I work with are mainly female identifying. So I've had the great opportunity to make a lot of my really close friends through that. And being a female in that role has really impacted me by kind of showing me what a female can do in the professional world, especially when it comes to networking after graduation. So it's been a really great experience, and being female identifying has definitely had a great impact on that.
From my experience, I would say that nobody's really paying attention to your gender identity. I think people really pay attention to what you're capable of and what they think that you can do. It's really about the skills that you have, is from my experience.
So like I agree with everyone else, but coming in, I remember my game art mentor, and she was a female, and I remember going in, and like the game industry is usually predominantly male identifying. So going into a field where it's like, okay, there's gonna be a lot of dudes. My mentor was a female, and she was really cool. And just being able to be that for another student was just like really awesome. Just being able to have a female figure that's like inspiring also it's really nice.
Great. I'm so happy to hear that all of you folks have kind of just spearheaded the position regardless of your gender. And for those of you who have used that as an empowering factor, more power to you. With those opportunities that you folks have had, could you discuss the difficulties and the highlights of the positions?
Yeah, so as a resident assistant, it's, obviously the highlight is making incredible connections with your residents, creating those memories that we're going to, last a lifetime for these first-year residents, and building that inclusive community that we always talk about here at Champlain. It's just really incredible to see. A difficulty of the position can be gaining the skills needed to help students, but fortunately we go through a lot of training before students even move in to our residence halls, so we definitely feel comfortable and skilled in helping students when they need it, so that we're always here for them and to support them.
Personally, for me, the difficulties of the position came with me getting out of my comfort zone and having to talk to new people, but also many people at the same time. However, that's also a highlight for me because it got me to be more outgoing, but also meet both like prospective students who happen to now be some of my really good friends, but also my teammates and / coworkers who happen to be some of my good friends as well. So it's gotten me out of my comfort zone, which some leadership positions can do, and it's allowed me to meet a lot of great people, but also express how great I feel at the school or how great I feel about the school and share that with other students. So I think the difficulties for me have definitely become my highlights in the end.
I definitely agree with that statement. As a peer coach, one of the most difficult parts of getting into the job was kind of tailoring myself, and I guess all the peer coaches had to go through this. Being able to tailor ourselves to professional experiences and interacting with professionals who are outside the Champlain community was really difficult because you never really know how an interaction went until after it happened. And as I've kind of grown from that, a highlight is that I've gained the skills to be able to do that. Networking has never been better than ever. So it's been a really great experience to kind of prepare me for life after graduation. And I'm definitely feeling confident going into that. So that's just one of the really great benefits of my job and being in the career office, getting that professional experience right off the bat.
So as an RA, you are, sometimes you can be dealing with some difficult things. We go through training for it, so we're equipped to handle the situations. But I think ultimately, like being able to have an impact on someone's experience on campus in a positive way, I think it's a great thing to just be able to have that opportunity just to do that. And then for still a woman, being a woman in business can be hard. It's a not necessarily male-dominated field anymore, but there's still some stigmas around it. And I think as a club, just having that space where you can connect with other females and kind of develop or follow your own path into the professional world is a great opportunity. So it's, again, kind of the impact that these things have.
So some highlights for student ambassador would definitely be just getting to talk to prospective students. I love being able to form a bond with students before they decide on a school. Usually it's really, really fun. The parents are really awesome too. But there's definitely some difficulties because you talk to tons of new people all the time. So just getting more confident and talking to new people all the time is just it was really hard, but it's a really good experience generally. And for game art, honestly, there wasn't too many difficulties. It was just, it's really, really enjoyable. But sometimes the difficulty is not being able to solve a problem or answer a question fully because I'm still a student, I'm still learning too. But I think the highlight of that is that you get to work on it together. So it's, there's some pros and cons.
Thank you so much, folks, for your thoughtful answers. I'm really happy to hear all of the positives that you folks associate with your student leadership roles. It's awesome to know that there are such amazing women out on the Champlain community doing great work. The next question that we have for our panelists is, what is it like to be a part of a small group of female identifying students in a male-dominated division? For example, in our information technology division or in our business division?
Yeah, so as I mentioned before, I'm a computer information technology major and I'm a cybersecurity minor. So a lot of my classes are male dominated, but it can, at first you might notice it, but of course there usually are other female identifying students in the room. But I think that it can feel like you're the only person in the room sometimes, but fortunately, we have amazing supportive professors that are always looking out for you. And we have groups like Women in Technology that, there's a network of support out there for you at Champlain if you feel that you need it. And that's really incredible, especially coming, being a woman in tech, it can be really, really overwhelming, but having the support that we need is crucial, and it's provided at Champlain.
Definitely. So I have a minor in the Stiller School of Business. It's international business. And with the Stiller School of Business, we have the Stiller Woman in Business, and that kind of gives you a really great group of women that allow you to network, but also find kind of like a little community that you can always go to if you need help with anything. But also with these classes, it gives you a good perspective on what it's like to be in possibly a male-dominated career in the future. So if anything, it is a good way to kind of get introduced into that.
So being part of Stiller School of Business as a female identifying student, coming in my first year, it was definitely a little overwhelming, but it's also kind of interesting because your professors kind of learn who you are a lot quicker than they do with the male-dominated students, especially if you kind of speak out a lot, if you're very interested in sharing your female perspective on certain issues or topics that come up in the class. It's actually a really great way of getting involved, because a lot of times the male identifying students and professors are really interested in hearing your opinion about what it's like. So I think it definitely, again, gives a good experience of what it's going to be like in the professional world, even though the business area is not as heavily male dominated as it once was. But it can be overwhelming at times, but a lot of ways I feel like female identifying students combat that by kind of being fully present and having their voices heard. So you have to be kind of brave, but it's definitely something that you learn quickly. And if you do good, you do really good.
I have to agree with everything that Jen just said. Let's just put it very well. But in particular, a Stiller Woman has been mentioned before. And so getting to know other people on campus is like great, but getting to know other women on campus is even better. Having Stiller Woman, you're able to network with people. You're able to network with not just current students and professors, but you're able to network with alum. We have groups that go all the way back to the beginnings of it, I think in 2015. And you have a whole network of people out there who will support you and help you. They just want to help you. Like, they're not looking for anything. They just want to make sure that you're succeeding and that you have like people to support you. And every semester, Stiller Woman holds a networking event. It's actually this Thursday, which is really exciting. And we invite students, professors, local professionals, and it's just an opportunity for you to get your name out there and get some experience. And I think being able to provide that to students is awesome. And I think having that ability to have to just like be able to get those skills and to get your name out there is like great.
So again, my major is game art and animation, and most of my game art classes are actually pretty balanced with male and female identifying students, which is really cool. But some of the general Some of the general game major classes are like production are pretty male dominated, but honestly, like you kind of forget about that because many of the female identifying game students often become like you get like really good friend groups going, and then you just have a really strong support network, which is really, really awesome. And a lot of those more male dominated classes, you'll learn a lot of really good like communication skills. And like you learn a lot about like making your voice heard and remembering to stay confident in the ideas that you can also bring to the table. So like there's a lot of learning that comes from it too.
Awesome, folks. Thank you so much for your answers. And just a general reminder to all of our viewers that if you have any questions for any of our panelists, feel free to comment them down below in either our Facebook or YouTube live stream, and we will do our best to answer them. For the meantime, we're going to move on to our questions that revolve around women's empowerment specifically. So for our panelists, our next question is, how have clubs or affinity groups empowered you on campus?
Yeah, so I'm part of the Women in Technology Club, which is awesome. It meets every Thursday night, and it's just a group of people that get together and we just hang out. Sometimes we'll talk about things we've done in classes. Our most recent meeting was actually a debrief of all the different conferences we've got to go to. So I just came back from the Women in Cybersecurity Conference in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, which was awesome. And I would have not have been able to go to something as incredible as that if it had not been for Champlain and for the Women in Technology group. So yeah, it just really, being in the Women in Technology group really just helps you find your network of other students on campus that really are either allies or they're female identifying, and just making sure that, you have your support network is super important. Yeah, so make sure you join those clubs, especially Women in Tech. I would highly encourage you to join the Women in Tech group. It's just awesome, and it makes you feel a lot better about the gender gap that might be in your major.
So one of the clubs that I joined was, my first year, was ACT, the Admissions Contribution Team. It's actually one of the main reasons why I ended up applying to be a student ambassador. It essentially helped me meet a lot of the student ambassadors and people that I currently work with, but it also helped me start to get out of my comfort zone and work with the admissions events and learn kind of the ropes of like what really goes on in the background of college admissions. And it was one of the main reasons why I felt comfortable having a leadership role. And it allowed me to also meet just kind of like my version of networking, because it allowed me to meet not only the admissions counselors, but also just a bunch of different staff members from different divisions.
So one of the clubs that I'm also part of is Stiller Women in Business, and it's been talked about a little bit tonight, so I'm actually going to talk about one of my experiences kind of through Stiller Women. So as Mia said, our networking event is this Thursday, and I recently ordered business cards, and as I was making them, I was like, maybe I should make them more professional than not. And then I thought to myself, why would I do that when I could have a lot of fun with this? So I embraced pink business cards, and it's been really fun to kind of bring femininity into the business school. And it's something that not a lot of people think of, but coming in my freshman year, I was like, I have to appeal to this male-dominated field. And now that it's my third year, I literally have a pin on my backpack that says, hi, nice to meet you. I'm a business ma'am. So I've definitely embraced the feminine businesswoman. And it's been something that's been very empowering, because when people comment on it, I'm like, yeah, so? And it's been really cool. So Stiller Women, I know that I have a group of strong women that are going to stand behind me and support me and really embrace that feminine businesswoman if they want to. So Stiller's been a really great experience for that, especially meeting other really strong-minded businesswomen on campus. So it's been awesome.
So I have learned that you are your best advocate for yourself. If you don't speak up for yourself and your own interests, then nobody else will. So I think it's important that I've been able to make a name for myself and be able to get my own experiences just from putting my name out there and putting out literally anything. People are looking to help you out. And then I've also learned that it's not just about yourself in Stiller necessarily. It's about helping out others and being able to spread opportunities and to help other women in business. And I think that's the best thing, that I have this network of amazing women who just want to help. Yeah.
So on campus, there's an awesome women in gaming group, and they're really, really cool. And it's a giant group of all of the female identifying students in the game majors on campus. And they recently had a women in gaming dinner, and we got to meet all kinds of devs that were at Ubisoft and Vicarious Visions and really crazy big devs. And it's just really inspiring to meet women in their fields who are dominating, which is really, really cool. And I'm not a part of Women in Technology, but because I'm pretty busy, but I know they do really awesome things, and just having a strong network of fellow women in tech is just a great thing to have. So you can fall back on them for support, and that's really cool.
Now, it's really great that we do have some affinity groups on campus, but there is the unfortunate reality that occasionally there will be a gender gap in the classroom. So for our panelists, how do you folks navigate the gender gap in the classroom and beyond?
Yeah, so even, if there isn't that, if, like you mentioned that there are support groups and things like that. There are those groups, but even just finding, a friend in the class, go up to the other people in the class and talk to them, or, go up to the other female identifying student in the classroom and just be like, hey, and just get to know people, network with people in your classrooms. It's super important. It feels uncomfortable sometimes, especially your first year. I remember my first year, I was too afraid to talk to anybody in my tech classes. And after a while, I started going up to some of the people, and they became some of my best friends in my major. And it's just really awesome having that small group of females to be friends with. So yeah, just find, if there isn't, a support group, you can't go to the meetings, you can't, you just don't feel you're not interested, just find your own network, build your own network on campus, build that network with professors so that if you ever have an issue, the professor can help you. So yeah, just find support in every way you can.
I've personally learned to take the gender gap in the classrooms as a learning experience, and that's helped me kind of get through it because it's offered me a different perspective on things that I might have not seen or noticed before, but it also allows me to give the other students in the class a different perspective as well. But it also, in a sense, prepares me for the future where both law and business, and even when they coincide especially, they tend to be male-dominated fields. And taking what I learned and how to deal with that now and taking that and applying it to my future career will be definitely helpful. So in a way, I suppose I'm thankful for it because it does allow me to learn how to deal with it and navigate and learn how to take these different perspectives and apply them to my own, but also how I'll deal with things in the future.
I absolutely agree with everything you guys just said. So I guess an example, I took a feminism class my sophomore year here at Champlain, and I was super surprised when I walked in on my very first day to see a classroom of mostly male-identifying students in a feminism class, and it kind of put me out a little bit. I was a little upset about it. Kind of going and what do these guys know about feminism? And then I kind of took a step back and was like, oh wait, maybe they don't really know anything about feminism and they want to learn more. And it really changed my whole perspective. And I like what you said too about perspective, because having that gender gap in the classroom is probably something that's going to be mostly inevitable, especially at Champlain. But the way you think about it and the things that you can learn from it are going to be so much more. So it's really good to go in with just kind of an open mind, and know that while you can offer new perspectives to other students, they can also offer new perspectives to you as well. So it's really kind of a win-win.
I also agree with everything that's been said before me. From my experience, it's not hard, it's just uncomfortable. I think, again, just to reiterate, it's, just say hi to someone new, just, make connections and just talk with somebody else. It's important to, sorry, I'm reading some messages and getting distracted, but just, again, taking your experience and making it into a learning experience and taking it outside the classroom to have a positive mindset is great. I currently work as a tax intern. I'm the youngest in the office, and I'm the only female intern. And I think I've been able to take the stuff that I've learned in the classroom to the real world, and it's been a great experience.
Sorry, folks, just to give you folks some context, I saw some squirrels fighting behind Jen's window, and I mentioned it to the panelists to ask if they saw it too or if I was crazy, and Mia was reading the messages about that. So don't worry, none of us are crazy and just giggling to ourselves. We saw some squirrels, and it was pretty funny. But moving on, Alex, do you mind answering the last bit of the question?
Yeah, squirrels are great. I agree with what everyone has said before. Haha, original. But if there's a gender gap in the classroom, usually I try to embrace it because I just want to make friends with everyone I meet, because some of my best and most supportive friends have just ended up being the people I just started talking to in one of my classes, and I like didn't that I like didn't know. So, and it's also a really good communication skill to just be able to talk to anyone and be comfortable in any spaces you're kind of thrown into, because that's kind of the business world. So that's usually how I deal with it.
Awesome. So squirrels aside, I'm glad to hear that you folks have navigated the gender gap really well. But with that, I'm curious as to what you have learned from your leadership positions as a woman.
I've learned that I'm just as capable as anyone else doing that job, just as qualified. Even in my classes, I think at first I was a little bit intimidated. Not even just being, I think, in a college level technology course. In general, like I was very shy, very. I think I had a lot of imposter syndrome coming into college, leadership wise and classroom wise. And it took me really over a year to realize that I'm just as capable and I deserve to be in that leadership position or in that classroom chair just as much as anybody else. So, yeah.
I think for me, as I noticed prior to coming into this leadership position, but also even being in one, that women who tend to hold some sort of position tend to be stereotyped or looked at as bossy or like loud. And so I've learned that it's okay to be assertive. It's okay to like voice your opinions, and it shouldn't be considered you being bossy or you being a control freak. It's just you simply being a leader and taking charge on something. And so it was really important for me to learn that. And that's definitely what I took away from it.
So as a finance coach, I am not a finance major at all. Actually don't know a whole lot about finance when it comes to businesses. Personal finance, I'm doing better. But when I first came into the role, again, with that imposter syndrome that Meg was talking about, it's really difficult when you do something that you don't really know that you can do well. Luckily, I had a huge selection of female role models to look up to that knew what they were doing. They're really strong and powerful and just like so smart. And some of them are now my really best friends. And it's been great because they've kind of passed down that knowledge to me. Whereas sometimes, I guess, male identifying coworkers or whatever might not be as helpful with me and as kind of understanding at my level. So having other female role models within my workplace has been extremely helpful and extremely beneficial to me, because not only am I getting experience from them passed down, but I'm also getting kind of a shoulder to lean on and really good friends too. So you never really know what's going to come out of it. But for me, it was something really great. So.
I've learned just how powerful I can be and how impactful I can be, and that I shouldn't take the experiences that I have for granted, or like the skills that I have, because I have them and they're mine, and I should kind of embrace that. And that's what I can do. So why not do it? It's not going to stop me now. But I also have realized how thankful I am for the people around me and how supportive they are. And everyone's just trying to help you, and everyone's just trying to look out for you, which I think is great.
So as a student ambassador, I usually end up giving tours to a lot of incoming game students. And something I've learned is that as a female student representing game studio, parents and people are always going to ask, well, what is it like being a woman in this major? And something I've learned is that generally, what it's like is that I can do anything else that anyone else can do in this major, which is really, really empowering. And that's one of the most important things I've learned representing this major, and just seeing fellow awesome, skilled female game art majors doing awesome work is just, I don't know, it's really empowering and it's really cool.
Great. So we have our last question, folks, and this is for our panelists. What advice do you have for any female identifying students who are either already committed to Champlain or are interested in coming to Champlain?
Yeah, so some of the things that have already kind of been said before, but I'm just going to repeat them. You are capable of everything you put your mind to, and don't let anybody ever tell you that you're not. Take every opportunity that this college experience offers you. It flies by, unbelievable. So, you might say, oh, I'll do it next year, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh, I'm graduating. So take every opportunity you can. Surround yourself with supportive people. Find your tribe. Don't let anyone put you down. And be your own advocate and support yourself. And if you feel that you deserve something, or, if you feel, just, advocate for yourself, be your own support system if you can't have anyone else. But yeah, just, you'll rock it. Everything will be okay.
Definitely along the lines of what Megan said, it's so important to take the chances and opportunities that come to you. I've noticed that sometimes you do want to pass them by because you're nervous or you're not sure if you should do it, and then you're almost graduating and it's like, no, what do I do? I should have done this. And these are things that I definitely did in high school. So I'm definitely taking what I learned then and applying it now, and I really hope that other students do the same thing, is that you kind of have to get into it. You've got to break your go out of your comfort zone and try new things, because it can lead to something so amazing and also some of the greatest people that you will ever meet.
Totally agree with everything just said. You guys stole some of my good ones. But I guess I'm going to say, especially in the classroom, speak up for yourself. There's going to be times when you're working on projects or even just in class when someone tries to either take credit for something that you've done or kind of downplay all the hard work that you put into something. So it's okay to be bossy, and it's okay to go complain to the teacher about something, and it's okay to solve the issues by yourself. But there's going to be times when you'll be thrown into uncomfortable situations, and they're only going to make you stronger, not only as a student, not only as a person, but also as a professional. So keep that in mind. Those experiences you have throughout your college experience is going to prepare you for life afterwards and when you go into your career. So don't be bossy, but be the boss, all right?
Everything that I was going to say has been said before. Take any opportunities that come your way, get that experience, add it to your LinkedIn and to your resume. You're your own advocate, but also take initiative. If there's an opportunity that you want, people are more than willing to help you create that and to help you get that role that you want. It's really easy to get a club going at school. People just want to see everyone having a good time and being a unified campus. And I think that's one of the better things about this campus, is that we really promote a sense of community, which is great.
Oh my God, there's so much good advice. I think my only advice left is please, please, please be yourself and never be afraid to put your best work into everything you do here. So we can really see what you're capable of. No matter what your gender is, no matter where you're from, no matter what you're interested in, you can do it, I promise.
And I'm going to tack on my own little bit of advice. Like Maya Angelou once said, each time a woman stands up for herself, without knowing it possibly and without claiming it, she unknowingly stands up for all women. So remember that behind every successful woman is a tribe of 100 other successful women who all have her back, and that nobody can make you feel inferior without your consent. So folks, thank you so much for joining us today. If you have any specific questions about any clubs or organizations you'd like to get in touch with, feel free to email me at studentambassador@champlain.edu and put women's leadership in the subject line so we can get you in touch with the right people. And for now, Julia, our counselor, is going to take it away.
And thank you, everyone, for taking part in today's live stream. It was excellent, and I loved listening to everyone's stories. And especially thank everyone, both listening as well as the panelists. Lastly, you can also check out our Instagram and Twitter at Champlain Admissions. And for all of our admitted students, join our Facebook group. Find it at www.facebook.com/groups/champ2023. Thank you, everyone, and good night.